Great. So welcome. And after we explained what manifestation is, it's time to start and dive in. So just quick wrap up of what we talked about. Manifestation is our creative abilities to attract to ourselves what we want, the job that we want, how it's going to look. But manifestation is a technique that we're going to share with you that will enable you to actually create the reality that you want within your work environment. So just to understand the concept of a manifestation is line three things, which is your thoughts, your emotion, and your actions. And this is basically what we're going to break down and start understanding within that technique, what is the actually what each component stands for, and how exactly can we use that in order to attract what we want. And today, with this video, we're going to talk about thoughts. Thoughts basically is the way that we create. This is the picture that is sitting in front of us. And if we will talk in the understanding of energy, so we are all energy. And in order for us to let the universe know what we want to create, we have to create a picture. That picture is your thoughts. And that will be the signal that you are sending out there into the universe. And later on, we would explain how do you attract it back to yourself. So thought is very important, and you have to invest in understanding exactly where you want to go. And as much details that you can provide, first will able the universe to know exactly what you want to attract. And later on in the process, when we are going to talk about emotions and we're going to talk about action, it actually will help you to control those two other parts. Lena, do you want to add anything?
Yes. So when it actually comes to manifestation, I just want to point out the way I see it. There are two ways to manifest. One is being an unconscious manifest, and I will explain in a minute what that means. And the second one is being a conscious manifest, and that's where we're going with this video. So unconscious manifestation, it means, for example, you want to have something in your life. Maybe you want to have a promotion, or maybe you want to have a different kind of job, but you're not really attached to it. So the way, like I've done in my past, for example, I wanted to increase my salary. I wanted to contract. And what I would do is I would sit down and I will clearly write in a piece of paper what I wanted. And then I would put it folded and I put it away. Because at the end of the day, it didn't really, I mean, of course it was important to me, but I was not attached to it. I didn't really desire it that badly. But what happens is sometimes we get to a stage in our life where we really want something and we want it so badly. We almost like, sometimes it feels like our life depends on it. You know, you want to get this promotion because you want to achieve a certain level in our career. We've been working long enough, hard enough to get there. Maybe you want to double our salary because you want to buy a bigger house. And then we're actually going to start attaching to how it happens. And we're going to do a separate video on what attachment is. So this is when we really need to start paying attention to our thoughts and becoming present to them. So that's why I just wanted to highlight two different things on how we can manifest things in our lives.
I think that what you're basically saying is what we said in the beginning, we are all creating, okay? And the difference between work and personal life is that it's very natural that you're going to have goals in the workplace, okay? Which in your personal life, they can be on the back burner. You cannot think about them until certain and be very occupied with your day-to-day. You're coming to work, you're doing a lot of things, you are creating a lot of things, and you do have desire to increase your salary, to get a promotion, whatever. So manifestation with the workplace is something you already do. We are just showing you the logic of how you actually, instead of doing all of those things and investing so much energy, we're going to show you how you can do it easily, right? Right, Lena?
That's the idea. Yeah.
And thoughts is the first thing that you need to sit with yourself and start to structure and start to understand really what you want to do. And I think that even beyond spirituality, is something that you need to know for your career. It's something that comes, with the fact you are coming to work. You need to understand where you're going, where do you want to be, what do you want to achieve, what makes you enthusiastic about your career, what motivates you, what things in your job you like and what you don't like, and even things that are connected to the environment and the culture and the organization and so on are very important, and all of those lies under the thought. So as a process, we recommend that you will invest in it, and will be also good for you as a point of reflection to understand where you currently are. Not necessarily we always have the time to do this, so it's a good exercise overall.
Yeah, so when with the thoughts especially, I just want to like kind of dig it a little bit deeper into it. We have, I don't know, thousands and thousands of thoughts, right? But it's not every thought that kind of determines or creates our reality. It's the thoughts that we give our attention to. So we know how some thoughts come and go and you're like, what was I thinking about? And you completely forget. But some of the thoughts, they become really persistent in our minds. And then what happens is we give them our attention and we give them our energy. And those kind of thoughts, that's what actually determines, that's what creates our reality. And if you think about it, everything that we have in our material world started as a thought, right? A bus, airplane, a chair, everything was a concept, was a thought in somebody's imagination. And then by giving it attention, by giving it energy, by spending time with it, by creating concepts and structures around it, then it became our reality. And that's the kind of thoughts we're talking about. So that's why we need to like implement a thought hygiene. Like you've got your hygiene where you brush your teeth, you have a shower. We really need to start doing the same with our thoughts and separating those thoughts that are kind of keep us spiraling in loops and the negative self-talk and why we keep telling ourselves the same things over and over. And then starting separating and seeing, basically how we can change these thoughts, unhelpful thoughts, and replacing them with thoughts that help us to propel us in a direction of our desires.
It's very dangerous what you said, because a lot of the time people will start panicking. Oh, I had like a bad thought. Oh, so that's not what we're talking about. We're talking
but
about.
I mean, it's a bad thought, right? You wouldn't know a good thought without a bad thought. Everything is a polarity. So what's the bad thought? So if this thought is, if you know it's a bad thought, then let's choose a good thought. But otherwise, without a bad thought, you wouldn't know a good thought.
That's how the basic laws of the universe, we are a polarity, and in order to know what you want, you need to know what you don't want.
Exactly.
But start with what you do want. And I'm emphasizing about making a complete, detailed picture of what you want to achieve. And once that you have a clear direction of understanding where you want to drive with this career, with this job, what even a simple thing that you love your job, but there is points that you would like them to change. So we're not saying if it's a big or a small, just drive a direction to this process that it's details. And once you have that, yes, contain thoughts that are positive about that and not anything that will disagree with you or disalign you from keeping that thoughts. But understanding that thought will send a message of the universe, and also for yourself will let you have a clear understanding to where you need to go. Right, Lena?
Yeah. So, I mean, what really helped me when I was going through this process is actually to start writing, journaling, because you've got so much stuff in our head. And sometimes when you kind of dump it, I guess, on a piece of paper, you will be able to see things clearly. And once you've, laid out your thoughts, so for example, you can even use an exercise like, what would my ideal career look like? What would be my ideal job look like? Even if you are within the job, but maybe something you want to expand in it. Maybe you want to add more value. Maybe you want to help more people, whatever it is. We're not saying like go and change things, but what is it that you want? And just write it out on a piece of paper. And now that you've got your vision on a piece of paper, so it's like a thought, like a brain dump, this is the time, guys, then it's really important to start observing what goes through our minds, right? Maybe you'll catch yourself thinking, I'm too old, or I've got kids and responsibilities. How am I going to get there? And these are the kind of thoughts you want to catch. Because remember, we can always choose differently, right? So if you think to yourself, I have kids and I have no time, while like wanting to become a partner in a company or wanting to have a promotion, well, what is the different thoughts you can choose? You know, maybe this promotion actually will give me more free time because I will be able to manage my time better. So once again, it's a choice. We can choose to think a negative thought, or we can choose to think a positive thought. And it's the same amount of time and energy. It's just we kind of have to start catching those unhelpful thoughts that keep us derailed from our vision.
I recommend you write all of them. The beginning of the exercise will be exactly where you want to be, with no judgment. You just sit quietly for a second, concentrate, write down what you want to achieve. And as much as, again, details that you can provide, please do. And it's, for example, I want to be a director of whatever. That's I recommend you will go beyond it. So I would use sales as an example. To which region you want to sell, what will be your target, how many people you're going to be responsible for. If you are in a company that has a line of products, which product do you want to sell? How much hands-on do you want to be? Do you want to be a director that is managing senior reps, or you like training reps, so you want a team that is actually more junior that you would be able to do? So also reflect on what you like within the job, what region, what language, what exactly you want, and as much details that you can, that will be better, because it will help you get the job that you like beyond the title of a director. We don't want you to throw yourself at the director and then find out you killed yourself. It's not what you wanted. So as much details that you can, provide them. Then I would recommend to leave it for 24 hours and then come again and read it. And then as Lena said, if you have preventing thoughts, write them down. You would also need them later on. Whatever jumps at you, usually people do a list of the pros and the cons, do it. Usually those pros and cons, those are a reflection of your limited beliefs. They're also thought that will further down this process we would have to deal with, and we would tell you how you can shift them and how you can deal with them. But first, as we said, you need to be aware. So be aware where you want to go. Be aware of what is working for you, which is the positive thoughts that are currently supporting what you want, and the negative thoughts, the one that are standing against your beliefs that you actually can get there. When you get that all in line, this is all we wanted to achieve in this in this part, the first step of manifestation.
And just my suggestion is, like, when you're writing it out, don't get too logical, don't get too caught up in your head, right? So it's almost like, ask yourself, what would I love? Not what do I think I should want, but it's like, if there was no limits and I could have this job, promotion, career, money, whatever that is, what would I love to create? And write it. Just maybe put a nice music and connect with it. And what's really awesome is just to stretch your human mind a bit at the end, when you emptied all your thoughts out, and put like a cherry on a cake, you know, like if it was completely something to blow my mind, what else would I have? So maybe it will be like, I don't know, like flying to your business meeting in a private helicopter. I'm just imagining, because what that does, it actually expands your minds even more. Because remember, this is very limited, right? We only like use 5% of our mind. So what you want to do is you want to stretch your mind, stretch the capacity to receive, to absorb this information. So always just stretch yourself a little bit further, no matter how unreasonable it seems, okay? But just start practicing and connecting to it. And like Sarit said, like, there's no need to go and read it every 5 minutes. You can if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it either. But in 24 hours, or, you know, just come back to it and maybe see what else would you like to add. Or if there is nothing and you're happy, just read through it, you know, because remember, wherever the attention goes, energy flows, and energy is everything. That's how we speak to universe.
Oh, they're going to be attached through the process to this list. So I recommend you take a good piece of paper and a good pen and make sure you're writing very, very clearly, because through this process, this is the basis. This is the start. You will need it very, very close to you. So invest in it. And I had a conversation with Lena today And I said to her that, you know, when you're going through regular personal awakening, spirituality, when you're talking about personal, people usually have more wings. When we're talking about career, we have another layer of limitation. So we ask you to go beyond those traditional limitation of workplace, okay? And we really, really emphasize on the fact that you will get some wings and you would fly. And if you need some wine or whatever to encourage you to flexion a little bit your barriers or whatever, I don't know. Not that I recommend anybody would drink, but whatever get you flexible, that you would actually allow yourself to dream. It's basically what we're asking you.
Allow yourself to drink or to dream?
Both.
Both.
I don't recommend anybody to drink. Not that there is anything wrong with it. I just giving an example to what will help you, maybe flex in your mind, but that's just an example. You do you, but we ask you to dream. And as we said from the beginning, what the worst thing that will happen? That you will spend a few hours with your dream and maybe you never knew you had.
Yeah, because I mean, like what we were speaking about earlier, you know, we are too defined by our job titles, right? I am this, I am that. And actually we kind of identify with that. So why identify with anything, right? We are unlimited. We only limit ourselves. So if in this job, for example, you love your job, but like you actually had a good example, you know, let's say you like IT support, but you love writing. So maybe then, you know, maybe something you can also do as part of your job to start like writing like guides or some documentation, whatever it is. Maybe you love working with people, right? So maybe then you can start organizing events within your company, go and speak to your senior management, see how you can start creating and adding some value. So just because your title says you're doing this and that's your 9-to-5 job, it doesn't mean that's where you've got to stop. You can literally become unlimited, and you will see that the more attention and energy you give it, the more creative you become. And eventually, and I promise you, it happened to me so many times, I'll write this out and I'm like, did I just say that? Like, where did it come from? When you go, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be absolutely amazing. So just challenge yourselves, you know, like don't get too stuck in your head. Just literally, like as Harit said, if you want to have some wine with it, I sometimes do, is just really like it just unleashes that creative thought process.
But you saw how I created, because we had this conversation, and yes, my heart goes to all IT people out there, all the help desk people. And I said to Lena that sometimes we are limited by the function that we need to do, and not necessarily we have like a burning desire that we can see the immediate connection with our functionality. And I took something like a help desk person that actually is providing support, and he loves that. But he's also loved to write. He also likes to engage. He also wants to. So I showed her how I think that if we are not limited, we can create it within our job, like writing FAQs, inventing new processes to provide support. AI provides us unlimited options. And, you know, you can impact so much more. So, for example, if you had I want to be a strategic help desk, for example, person, add that to your title and suggest that you would be a strategic IT person that drives new innovation and technology into the company, for example, on how providing good support. Just an example. So don't be limited within your functionality. Write down anything that you would like, even if you like music. You would be responsible for the music that people will never hold on the line for the support, because you're going to give great support, but there will be your music creativity, for example. I don't know. But don't limit yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool, guys. Well, let us know how it goes. And yeah, just allow yourselves to dream big. Go big on this. It's really worth it.
Like, subscribe, because we have got so many other things on the way, and we really want all of you to succeed. So stay with us. Stay tuned.